Every family photo tells a story, just like the roses.
Hi, I'm Alison. This is Morgan.
Guy.
And this is Jason. Also known as Waffle and George.
Brothers Morgan and Jason were born with the same brain injury. It affects their speech and development.
It's called periventricular leukomalacia, which rolls off the tongue, or PVL, which means basically lack of white brain matter.
When Morgan was born, his condition was initially linked to birth trauma. But when his younger brother Jason also developed similar symptoms, doctors compared their brain scans.
His brain scan was very similar to Morgan's. I was like, oh my gosh. Sorry, this is making me quite emotional going through it. But it's not a sad thing because I'm glad I've got them. But just reliving it.
Alison's children share an unknown genetic condition, or SWAN, a syndrome without a name. Every year in the UK, around 6,000 children are born with a genetic condition, often so rare it hasn't been diagnosed.
With modern medicine able to do so many things, we always expect that doctors will always have the answers. But for families like the Roses, that search goes on.
If you don't have a diagnosis, then you never have that potential opportunity for a specific treatment that we might be able to develop through molecular diagnostic knowledge. You can still treat the individual elements of that condition. So, for example, if you had a child who had congenital heart disease, you treat their congenital heart disease, but you are denying the people the opportunity to have a potential targeted treatment that may become available in the future.
Swan UK was set up by Genetic Alliance UK to help families support one another and uses events like Undiagnosed Children's Day to raise awareness.
If your child has a diagnosis of a more common condition such as Down syndrome, there are support services and communities where parents can go along, they can join these communities and they can meet other parents who have children with the same condition. If people don't have a diagnosis, they don't think they belong to, any of these communities. So that's where Swan UK comes in. Families join, they can interact on our online support forums, on our private Facebook groups, through our virtual events, through our physical family events. They can meet people and they can build really strong peer support relationships.
And using these connections isn't just supporting families, it's helping to share diagnoses.
We're now, with new technologies, we're diagnosing very, very rare conditions where there might be, just a handful of people around the country. But with social media, those families are finding each other. And that's incredibly powerful, both for the families, but also for the health professionals, actually, because they come back to us to say, do you know somebody else has had this problem? Should you be looking at my child for this problem?
Why do I want a diagnosis? Maybe just for your own peace of mind. To meet other families who have exactly the same problem, much like Swan. I don't know. It's more of a intrigue, and then maybe to be able to look to the future more.
And there is hope out there, building on projects like 100,000 Genomes, which opened the door to cost-effective screening. The hope to identify more of the conditions children like Morgan and Jason are born with.
Whole genome sequencing is now a diagnostic service in the NHS. It's been tweaked. It's going to be better than it was for the 100,000 Genomes project because technology just gets better. And so, the next step will be for us to enrol them into that. That is a brand new service, so we haven't had an opportunity to do that, but I will pick that up after this interview and we can take that forward for the family if they wish to do so.